Hello there, this is Mag. Welcome back to the channel for another LEGO Creator review. This is Aviation Adventures, set 31011. Contains 618 pieces, retails in the United States for $59.99. You don't get any minifigures, but you do get the opportunity to build 3 different creations. The main build, which is what we're looking at here, is the blue and yellow airplane. This will also reconstruct into a helicopter or a speedboat. Now, even though a minifigure doesn't come with this, you can put a minifigure in the cockpit. It will fit 2, one in the front, one in the rear. However, this is not a minifigure scale build. It is a very large aircraft. I wanted to start by looking at the front of the plane and working backwards. Now, I have this tilted so you can see inside the engine compartment there are gears, and that is because the propeller on this plane actually spins. I do like the way that they had constructed this so that you can lift the panel and be able to witness the gears in motion. I'll show you what actually moves the gears in just a moment, but I'll give you a quick demonstration that you can actually see the gears moving, which turns a belt which actually spins the propeller. Now, this does have a stopping mechanism which only allows the propeller to spin in one direction because of the gears. So it could spin counterclockwise with no issue. However, going the other way, you do run into a problem, and you can't spin it because the gears won't go in reverse order. Now, we have this little tail wheel in the back that spins freely, and this is what controls the propeller and the gears. You would simply push this forward to move the gears and pull it back to reset. And the faster you do this, the faster the propeller spins. A shot down the side of the airplane, you could see these studs coming out, and these are just 1x1 circular studs stacked upon each other with a slope brick and a 1x1 brick with an extra post out the side. And then here we have a muffler coming off the side of the engine. Now, from a straight-on shot in front of the plane, there is clearance that the person sitting in the cockpit can actually see over the engine. And you can see the details of the engine, the 8-cylinder engine. Now, to the right and to the left of the engine, just below the front of the wings, you have that 1x2 grill plate. And to me, that could be some sort of weaponry. You could say it's lights if you wanted to do that. It's your imagination. But I think I'd like to go with weaponry. And here's just a side shot of the left side of the plane, and we have duplicated the engine exhaust. Now, we're just having a closer look at the wing itself, because there are flaps that do move on both sides of the plane. These are free flaps, which means they're not controlled at the same time. You control one side or the other. And that is a really good design by LEGO, because if you're making a bank or a turn, you would have one flap slightly elevated and the other flap slightly lowered so that you can have the airflow go over the wings in the proper direction and have the plane go where you want it to go. But they do go up 90 degrees perpendicular to the wing, or they do go down, and that's only 45-degree angle. They don't go perpendicular all the way down. Here's a top-down view of our cockpit, and we have 2 separate sections, a front and a rear, and each section has their own canopy. If I lift the front canopy, we'll have a good shot inside to see the instruments in the control panels, as well as this joystick in the center. Now, the rear section of the cockpit has its own canopy that will flip up or flip down. But if we look at it from the side, you can see there is an alternate method of opening the rear section by sliding the whole canopy rearward. I wanted to demonstrate that a minifigure can fit inside this plane even though it's not minifigure scale. We have our minifigure sitting in the front cockpit, and the shield or canopy will come down with no problems. The minifigure will also fit in the rear, and you could have them forward facing or rear facing like a tail gunner. Now, with 2 different ways of closing the canopy, we will put this down and slide it forward with no issues. Now I do like the extra feature that LEGO had thrown in, which is this step right here towards the back of the wing, because our pilot enters off of the side of the wing here. However, our co-pilot or the individual sitting in the rear of the cockpit would utilize this step to get into their seat. Here's a shot of the rear tail fin. You can see there is no rudder. This is all one piece. But we do have the two side wings and lights on the top. And there are some slope bricks to give it the curvature of the angle. I had flipped the plane over so we can see the undercarriage and take a look at these wheels, which are retractable. They have some Technic pieces which you can just flip up on the side right here, and then these wheels fold in nicely, and this little red piece that is sticking out is just something that will keep it from coming back out because it'll hit the Technic piece. And on the other side, that same red piece prevents it from overextending or going beyond the plate area, so it holds real nice. This plane was a fun build. I really enjoyed it. It uses pretty much all of the pieces that come in this set, but it's a massive size plane. I think it's worth the price point. It looks appealing, and the bonus is you can put minifigures in it. Here is the helicopter build from our Aviation Adventures. Just like the airplane, it is very large and not really considered minifigure scale, even though it can house a minifigure in the cockpit, which we do have right now. I will raise the cockpit. It is the same build and use, just like the plane. And here was our minifigure that fit inside. The cockpit opens upward towards the front, and we'll just close that back down. Now the blades are very large, but they are comparable in size to the overall body of the aircraft. They do have a slight tilt to them, which I had added. Now these are free to change direction, but I just gave it a little tilt, and it will spin freely in one direction, but just like the propeller on the airplane, it will not go backwards, and it's prevented by those Technic pieces inside. This aircraft does not have an engine compartment or something that opens to reveal the gears like we saw on the airplane. Everything is enclosed up top. Now there are 3 wheels on this airplane instead of skids, and that is logistically correct. However, the way that they had designed this does not look accurate to an actual helicopter, because you would expect to see 2 wheels more towards the back and then a single wheel up front. Now you might think that LEGO had designed it like this with the smaller wheel in the back because it's connected to the Technic pieces inside, but you're wrong. That rear wheel is simply there for show. I'll lift this up slightly so that you can see this brick right here is actually the component that controls the top blade by simply moving it back and forth, just like the propeller was spun on our airplane. I kind of like the way the wheels are put on here, and you have these Technic posts that will prevent it from going backwards any further. However, you can lift them like this if you wanted to have no wheels exposed flying. It does kind of look a little weird, though, with wheels off to the side when it's up in the air. So I think that they're best placed just to leave down at the side. We do take advantage of these exhausts on top of this, what would resemble a turbine engine on this helicopter. We do have a small piece up front that does flip down back and forth. I really don't know what this piece is for, but I figured I'd point it out to you because it is another moving piece. Looking at the tail fin in the rear, this little propeller does spin, but it's manual. You do have to spin it by yourself. Here is our final build for the Aviation Adventures. You're looking at the Speedboat. I do think it's cool, and if you don't have very many LEGO boats in your collection, I would say go ahead, pick this up. I like all 3 builds. For me personally, I like the airplane the best. There aren't too many sets that you'll be able to find that have minifigure compatibility in a creator series. And this boat build is unique because you get a double cockpit in front. Starting with the double cockpit, how do we get these open? Usually we just reach here and we flip open the glass. However, with the double cockpit, you can't exactly get your fingers down in there to grip it and open it up. See, it's difficult. But they do make it easy for you because on the top, just behind the cockpit, you could see these 3 grates, and that is actually a lever. And if I push that down, you can see it will raise the cockpit. Here's a look at the cockpit from the top down. You can see this post sticking up right here, and this is the Technic piece that's attached to that plate that helps open up the cockpit. And you can see here we have the instrument panels in the front, in the center, and on the left side for our navigator. We do have this wheel that does go up and down so it can fit tightly with our minifigure, and it does rotate left and right so you can steer the boat. A shot from the back, you can see we have this big massive fan / engine that does rotate. And I do like the way they have the bevel down here, where if we can remove this fan for a moment, you can see that there is a flat piece here. And if you wanted to just leave the fan off, you could do that as well. I think the boat has a good design just the way it is. And being a speedboat, you don't necessarily have to have this big massive fan or engine in the back. You could just pretend that the propellers are underneath the water, and this is just your rear diving pad, if you wanted to say so. Now you do have these small pieces on the side. They really don't have any function. They're just a design of the boat. They're not smaller engines or missile shooters or anything like that. But they do rotate up if you wanted to do that. You could arrange them in a different angle if you wanted to. They're just a couple 1x1 studs with the claws on the end connected to these 1x2 plates that have the bar going across. Just a little something extra to give it a different type of design. Here's a full shot of the side of the boat. You can see we have an exhaust pipe that comes out the side. That is on the opposite side as well. And you can see a little bit of up angle because there is a little bit of space here. Now that's just because we have these 2x2 circular bumps on the bottom, but that extra plate there up front will give it that angle so it looks like it's accelerating or the bow is raised as you are speeding off. I do like how everything is enclosed, and it does have that sleek look down the side. We do have a little bit of detailing with these 1x2 slope bricks and then the grill plates. We don't have too many studs exposed on the side. Most things are covered except for just these few studs on that long triangle piece. The running lights, red on one side, green on the other. A look at it from the front. It does have some good width and good depth. It is a pretty big boat, and the cockpits are set well to the rear of the craft, and it gives it a lifelike resemblance because you do have a lot of clearing in the front for those big, fast speedboats. But that's not the only reason why they're in the back. They had shifted the cockpits rearward because right up front there is this luggage compartment that can flip up. It's just a place that you can put some storage if you wanted to put some luggage on it, or if you wanted to take some water skis with you, maybe some rope you can put in the back. Maybe you want to go parasailing, and that's where you put your parasail. I do like this build. It was fun putting it together. So if you have a chance to pick up Aviation Adventures, I recommend you do so. You get 3 excellent creations for a very reasonable price, and it fits a minifigure. You can't go wrong with that. That'll wrap our review of this creator set. If you like this review, please leave a thumbs up. Leave your comments. Let us know which build you favor. And if you haven't done so already, please click that subscribe button. We would love to send you more LEGO reviews. And don't forget to follow us on social media. Mag Creations does have a Twitter account, a Facebook page, as well as a Google profile. Thanks for taking the time to watch today. And until the next video, happy building.